The Power Trading Hour with your host, David White. Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648 or internationally at 727-873-7618. Now, David White.
And welcome all to another excellent edition of the Power Trading Hour, where we come together at the sacred and very appointed time of 2 p.m. every trading day.
The following takes place between 2 p.m. and 3 p.m.
So what do we have going on today? I don't think a lot. As I said in the update at 2, options expiration, I mean, there's a lot of money on the line. And last week, just the last few days, moved the needle for option market makers. And, of course, they sell both sides. They are the arms dealer that keeps the war going, and the longer it goes, the more they make. All they want to do is see those premiums decay, and pretty much, they're going to make money anyway because the premiums have decayed a bit. But, there's always there's that gravy if they can get the market to close at about the right spot. So we saw the push down into Friday. We had too many people short too many stocks, or the big stocks, the ones that really, the 5 or 6 that really drive the indexes on a very short-term basis, not on a longer-term basis. So, some of those folks had to cover in the market. So is there a lot to be said here when we fell, coming back on Tuesday? I don't think that there's a whole lot to be said on that other than the completion. They were able to kind of break the losses in half from the previous expiration into this month's expiration. But, they were able to make a lot of money by pushing it down, not as much as they would have liked. Completed that kind of on Tuesday. Now we, of course, waited for the Fed minutes yesterday. And, we had a nice pop this morning on NVIDIA and some of the other folks out there. In fact, let's see what NVIDIA is doing right now. It's been pretty good most of the day. Up still 14.5%. We'll take a look at some of those charts out there. But Fed minutes are in the rearview mirror now. JP Morgan's CEO, let's see here. JP Morgan's CEO rained on our parade. He was coming out here. My guess is that he was fairly interested in moving the market for the day. Now, he might come back tomorrow and tell everybody everything's great. But the ability to move the market a little bit and then ignore everything that they said before seems to be pretty easy to do on Wall Street. So if you're trading on the day, you just go with the flow, even though it's a put-up job. Jesse Livermore saw the same thing. He used a term called thimble rigging, and I have no idea why you would rig a thimble, but apparently that was a big deal back in 1910. But people have been doing it for forever, so that's over 110 years ago. Oh, as I said, we need to go to break right now, and I'll be back in a minute.
Currencies, commodities, and bond markets are as important as ever right now with how they're driving the volatility in equity markets across the globe, which is why it's a great time to try out Teddy Kegstat's Tiger Forex Report. Teddy Kegstaff breaks down the Forex markets every Monday using his 30-plus years of experience as a trading veteran of futures, Forex, stocks, and options. Teddy releases his weekly Tiger Forex report every Monday morning with coverage of all the major currency pairs, including the dollar index, the euro dollar, pound dollar, dollar Swiss, dollar yen, as well as many more, and he also has weekly coverage of the crude oil market and the 30-year T-bonds, as they both influence Forex markets tremendously. When you sign up for the Tiger Forex Report, you also gain instant access to Teddy's 60-minute webinar archive he just hosted, Forex Strategies and Fundamentals, What is Behind the Tiger Forex Report. For all the details and to start your 30-day Tiger Forex Report subscription today, visit the front page of TFNN.com. TFNN, educating investors.
Are you grinding in the market, but seeing little to no return? Or are you a successful trader, simply looking to make your job a little easier? Learn to take the path of least resistance with David White's powerful trading newsletter. David White is an accomplished trader whose deep understanding of technology and the markets allows him to consistently find and share winning trades. Support and resistance define the ranges in which stocks trade. By understanding these trading ranges, David White is able to find the path of least resistance. David White's trading newsletter, The Path of Least Resistance, is delivered daily before the markets open to make every trading day an easy win. Visit TFNN.com today and subscribe to David White's Ultimate Trading Newsletter for $119 a month. And try all of our newsletters risk-free with our 30-day money-back guarantee. Take the path of least resistance at TFNN, educating investors. Are you looking for a way to consistently add winning trades to your portfolio? Tom O'Brien is here to help. Tom O'Brien has been successfully trading markets for over 30 years. A frequent contributor to TD Ameritrade Network and CNBC, Tom O'Brien founded TFNN over 20 years ago to help educate investors just like you. Tom's daily market newsletter, Market Insights, is published every morning when the markets open to give you the competitive informational edge you need to succeed. These newsletters are packed full of Tom's advanced technical analysis and are geared to deliver comprehensive strategies for a successful portfolio. Get Tom O'Brien's newsletter, Market Insights, today and try all of our products and newsletters 30 days risk-free with our money-back guarantee at TFNN.com. TFNN, educating investors.
Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-873-7618.
And I'm back after so rudely being interrupted, but we've got that handled. And I need a gatekeeper. Maybe some Secret Service agents out in front of the house. I do digress, by the way. Anyway, we were talking, J.P. Morgan came out, but, you know, when I see this, and I think a lot of times they have a lot of different people that they can push out the door to get a market moving one way or another for the short period of time. And just how huge options market making is for their business. They tend to downplay it a great deal. Of course, more famously in the early mid-2000s, Warren Buffett and his minion, what's his name, Charlie Munger, called options sewage and nuclear weapons. And now they have the biggest option market making business in the United States, but mostly they make money the old-fashioned way, which is they have a lot of stocks that they own, and they actually just sell a huge amount of options off those positions they have and collect a huge amount of money each month. And, you know, it's not tough. A lot of people see them do things like buy Apple or something like that, and, you know, they'll say that it's because it's a great stock. No, I have a feeling that if you really got them to tell the truth, it would be that that they own the stock, just how much money they can make every single month on a stock that has huge amounts of options like Apple. They also have the ability to buy and sell the stock itself. And my guess is if they called up the CEO, they may get a little bit of fun buying backup or buybacks or anything else for a short amount of time that they need. Anyway, other things going on in the market that we see, certainly, let's see here, is Alibaba was this morning. Let's take a quick look at that. We'll go through some of the other stocks that moved well. Alibaba. Weapons of mass destruction, nuclear weapons. He also called them sewage. Anyway, Alibaba did have a nice bounce this morning, gave it all back up. Still kind of at support on the 4th. As we said, a lot of these stocks are just coming right back to the beginning of the year. This one popped with 53 million shares on the 4th of January. Today, we've got about 30 million shares. We did talk a little bit about whether or not any of these Chinese stocks are worth anything if you live in the United States. Mostly, you can't see the books, and with what China is at least pushing or talking about, if we get the exact same kind of sanctions that the U.S. has put on them, then literally they could be worth nothing to you. So, it's always been that way. I know so many people say, well, can you trade them? You could. I just wouldn't go home with them because you never know when something's going to come out of the woodwork. And literally, you'd have nothing. Anyway, just a thought out here. Of course, the other big winner chicken dinner on the day is NVIDIA. It has pretty much held the highs. Why the overall revenue was not that great, they've been continuing to change the model of their business. They were a company that really relied on retail sales for a number of years. We've chronicled probably for 5 or 6 years how they've moved out of that business and into the big business of huge computations, parallel computations, by taking their GPUs and using them as mass parallel processing. And of course, if you're into anything that needs that, like if you're a big college or you're the NSA or you're breaking codes or you're doing a lot of other stuff, it makes a lot of sense. And they've been able to scale their work up on artificial intelligence and other things like that to fairly large scale. So with lower revenues, they're actually making a little bit more money. Why the people are not as short as they have been NVIDIA. They continue to short it, probably beyond what you have. You do have a nice breakout today, though. You do have volume with 84 million shares so far. You are holding above the previous two highs at 230. So you have, if it closes here, you have a legitimate breakout with volume. I see no reason to break it. Again, if you're thinking about some of these stocks, I think you want to wait to the first week of March for shorting them. I don't see a lot of reasons why I would want to get it short before fund buying in any of these. But especially these big names that everybody likes to short every day. Even Tesla, we make fun of everybody shorting the living daylights out of this thing on a daily basis. I just don't quite understand it. But I generally don't like shorting when everybody's shorting. But the pattern is actually starting to set up. And, we get another couple of days into next week. Tomorrow's Friday. So, the end of fund buying is next Friday. So we're talking about 5 trading days. Could you get another day like this, go back higher, try to reach 217.65, the February 16th high, and then fail on volume? That would be a much better pattern than trying every day to try and find the high in this. I'm not saying that will happen in Tesla, but at least we're starting to see the shorts start to wake up and quit shorting everything. That's generally the first step in finding some kind of high. It's almost impossible to find a high in a stock that's going to give you a lot of money, life-changing money. And in this case, let's say that you get to 210 or 212 and it gives up the ghost there, your first target would be about 150. So, that's, not saying you're going to get that, but I would much rather try it that way than try to pick a high here. If it does start to fade right now, my guess is that all would say is that is a pullback in a move higher, and you still have to come back and retest the high of 217.65 before I would want to put a position on. 877-927-6648. Other stocks of note getting the loser horn today. One more time. I don't know why this thing does that. I wanted the loser horn. I'm going to have to play it because of my OCD. So we shall see. Hang on a second. Give me a second. Okay, what do we want? Oh, we want the loser horn, don't we? Anyway, Teladoc gets the loser horn today. And you've got huge volume. You've blown through the previous low. You've done it. You're holding the price, but you've got mass volume. That does open the door to a retest of the January 6th low of 2160. And as I said earlier in the show, and for the last probably 3 or 4 or 5 days, I think a lot of these setups are just come back and test the beginning of the year. But we shall see. Other stocks in technology that seem to drop the chalupa is certainly Unity Software. I talked about how I wasn't a big fan of a lot of these companies making mass application game engines and programming languages. They just tend to be hot or not. There doesn't seem to be a ability to come out and continue to make software that everybody uses on these games that are here today and gone tomorrow. Electronic Arts has been selling billions of dollars worth of, what is that? I'm just having a mental blank now of the Second World War game. They have Call of Duty. That's what I think. Anyway, that's kind of it. Anyway, so really on Unity Software, not a big surprise. You've got 25 million shares already. You blew through the previous lows. That opens up the 24.69 low of January 6th. So much going on there. One that kind of caught my eye out here is one that I've talked about for a number of years, that for every idea that I've ever seen, and talking about the Chinese stocks, has been just a nightmare for me, because I don't know how you continue, at least from what everybody said, is it just an ongoing fraud from China?
This is probably a first in a couple of regards. It's probably the first company to pre-announce earnings to the downside after already announcing their earnings date, and doing so 43 days after the quarter has ended. So you bring up a good point. Like, if it's a fraud, do they not even have enough control over their fake numbers to know what they were going to be when the quarter ended? I mean, I don't have a good answer for you then. But it's also probably the first internet company, depending on, mobile buyers, that has pre-announced earnings because of bad weather. Right.
Are their revenues $350 million, or are they $3.7 billion? Which is it? Are they making $122 million, or are they losing $2.1 million? This can't be the same company. You must have pulled the wrong filings. But
well, you didn't. That was like 3 years ago, and or 4. And one of these guys in one of these clips, I kept all of them because I thought this is a teachable moment in Chinese stocks. But literally everything now is the same thing. They have one set of books that they're going to tell the West, and they have one set of books that they tell the Chinese Communist Party. And not many of them are actually the same. This one rotated back off some highs, but even a known company that has committed what many on Wall Street say is fraud. I'm not a bookkeeper, but it doesn't matter. So just one day you're going to find out. I think there are a lot of other stocks to play. So kind of some of these off the books, weird China plays, I certainly wouldn't even play them during the day, but that's me. We'll be back in a minute.
If you want to take advantage of this sector, now is the time to subscribe to my Gold Report. The Gold Report is a comprehensive look at the metals sector as well as the markets that move gold, which is the currency and bond markets. New subscribers get a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to lose. Every Monday morning, I publish the Gold Report with coverage of gold, silver, bonds, the XAU, HUI, GDX, as well as more than 30 different mining equities. To see for yourself the types of profitable trades that are recommended within the Gold Report, sign up now by visiting TFNN.com. Don't miss out on the next great gold trade. Sign up today.
Sharpening your skills as an investor is like getting better at playing a musical instrument. You have to practice, sure, but you also need excellent instruction from experts. At TFNN, you'll get advice and guidance from the authority in technical market analysis. And it's not just dry, tedious text either. TFNN airs live financial content streamed live on TFNN.com and TFNN's YouTube channel with Tiger TV, live every market day from 8:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern. For free. Each host is an experienced trader and gives their take on the market while taking calls and questions live from around the world. From the moment the market opens until the closing bell sounds, Tiger TV has 8 different shows with expert hosts to help you make the right moves with your money. Watch online at TFNN.com or on TFNN's YouTube channel and become the investor you were born to be. TFNN, educating investors.
TFNN is excited about our new software charting program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts. In collaboration with Tom O'Brien and using his best-selling book, The Art of Timing the Trade, Your Ultimate Trading Mastery System, David White has programmed an outstanding piece of software that will complement any trader's methodology. Using this first-of-its-kind program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts allows you to scan thousands of stocks for Fibonacci formation setups, including Gartleys, ABCs, butterflies, and much more. The Art of Timing the Trade Charts is designed to help you when scouring the markets for stocks just beginning to form the trading patterns that many investors spend days, weeks, or even months searching to find. And right now, we're offering licenses available at only $79 a month. We are so confident that you're going to love this new charting software that will even give you a 30-day unconditional money-back guarantee. Don't miss out on this incredible new piece of software. Get your copy of The Art of Timing the Trade Charts today by visiting TFNN.com.
This segment is brought to you by Thinkorswim. For more information, just click the Thinkorswim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
And people are asking what's going on, and I will chalk it up to market gas, which happens so much around options rollover season. I did put an update out that I didn't think there was as much this was much ado about nothing at about 140 or something. So yeah, it's just no days after options rollover, the first and second day generally, sometimes into this roll, and I think we had a little bit of extra time for the Fed meeting. But it certainly looked like they were shutting the door somewhere between 1 and 2 today. Let's go through the rest of earnings stock. But as I said, I think we're going to bounce up a bit into fund buying. But I think it's going to be weak and more like today. It's going to be stumbling up. I don't see where you just run. Everybody goes hog wild again to go higher. American Tower, of course, leases towers everywhere all over around the world, but mostly here in the United States. We have a lot of these stocks that are at the moment, some of these that are just at support levels. This gapped up back on November 10th with 2.8 million shares. You had a little bit more out here. I'm not exactly sure why this is as weak as it is, but certainly American Tower kind of looks like, it may find support here, but it wasn't any kind of a low volume test of that gap higher. 178 is the next low out here. We talked about Alibaba. That gap does have more volume, so you might have some minimal support here today. BHC, ASPN. I don't know what that stock is. ASPN. Let me think about it here. Yeah, and you can, of course, email me at path@tfnn.com. Aspen, this is, yes, a company I discussed, I'm going to say 10 years ago. If you're unfamiliar with what aerogel is, imagine, they call it smoky air. It's something that weighs nothing. It has the insulation properties of the tile on the shuttle. And you can take like a 1/4-inch section of this, put a blowtorch on one side, put your hand on the other, and you won't feel it. It is some amazing technology. They continue to have a lot of applications, but one, they need to get the cost down, and they need to be able to make it a little bit more break-proof. It crumbles quite easily. But yeah, you could sit on a half-inch segment of or between you and a blast fire at 2,000 degrees and not feel anything. It is the best insulation, and it weighs almost nothing, and they call it liquid smoke. I think that there's a big application for it. I continue to every once in a while look at the stock, but I can't really find them jumping the proverbial shark on being able to get the cost down and the ability for it not to break into little bits on impact. But, it's one of those kind of material companies that if they could get either one of those to do a little bit better, I think they'd be off to the races. They get both of them, they're probably a $100 company. Yeah, I mean, it's one. If you just look up aerogels on YouTube, it is some amazing stuff. I had a little block of it here, but as I said, it doesn't take much. You can drop the thing off a desk. It weighs nothing, and it'll hit and crack and break. And that's the technical part, is that they need to find a better way to package it, maybe some other kind of way of putting something in it to make it a little stronger. They're kind of busy. They've done well over the last 5 years, but it's not been, they haven't turned the corner into mass adoption yet. But I love the technology, and they've really had a long time to kind of duke this out. But again, it's one of those things where you really, if you pay attention to it one day, it may be today, it may be 5 years from now, they get one of those two things, they're probably a $30 company. They get both of those things, they're a $100 company. Yeah, you may just have to sit on it for like forever. That is the problem. One day it'll be that. Okay, other things going on. We looked at that. Was Bumble. Bumble did not fumble today. See what I did with that? Not much volume today, but a nice little pop to 25.74. Volume's okay, but you don't see a lot in this. COMM, which is Comscope Holdings, has a nice little pop today. Certainly you have a good candle. You got decent volume. Again, as many stocks that went straight up to the moon and are now starting to falter, we have as many stocks kind of coming back on light volume to support. In this case, you actually went underneath it yesterday as it got pushed down, and now it's popped right back in. But you had like 4 million shares compared to 6.6 million shares on the gap up on the 12th of January this year. Someone asked me about earlier in the day was my call on why I said I thought Apple was doing okay, or is a good chart pattern. And I don't see a lot of reasons to say anything that it's probably not in the short term going a little higher. Again, I'm not overall bullish on the market, but you did gap up on about 118 million shares. You came back. You did get a doji. As far as having that kind of overall volume, would you actually have 51 million shares yesterday, 58 million shares? You really, you want something, you got a light volume. And that means it's probably going to bounce, probably going to hit the 3x3 on the way up. And at that point, maybe you get what I'm looking for, which is maybe another week worth of higher prices. And then certainly as soon as fund buying's over, I think maybe the market deflates. 877-927-6648. CQP, see if we have anything else going on. CQP, Chenair, I forget how it's pronounced. Nice pop on this one, not a lot of volume so far. I mean, it's okay. It's not a bad day, but this kind of just looks like a bounce in a downtrend. To what else do we have? We have anybody else? Okay. If you want to give me a call, 877-927-6648. Dish Network's little pop up here. Volume's okay, but you had a high volume low. You could get that retested. That's $12.91. Again, could be worse. It's very tough to see how Dish Networks competes long-term against SpaceX's Starlink system, which now they've got a roaming system for $200 a month for RVs and for boats. And the initial reviews are actually fairly positive. Of course, every month they put up another 80 or 120 satellites. We'll be back in a minute.
Sharpening your skills as an investor is like getting better at playing a musical instrument. You have to practice, sure, but you also need excellent instruction from experts. At TFNN, you'll get advice and guidance from the authority in technical market analysis. And it's not just dry, tedious text either. TFNN airs live financial content streamed live on TFNN.com and TFNN's YouTube channel with Tiger TV, live every market day from 8:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern. For free. Each host is an experienced trader and gives their take on the market while taking calls and questions live from around the world. From the moment the market opens until the closing bell sounds, Tiger TV has 8 different shows with expert hosts to help you make the right moves with your money. Watch online at TFNN.com or on TFNN's YouTube channel and become the investor you were born to be. TFNN, educating investors.
The technology around us is changing every day. With so much happening, it can seem impossible to keep up with all the information. David White's investment newsletter, The Technology Insider, is designed to give you all the information you need to understand the technology that shapes today's markets and tomorrow's future. David White has made his living staying on the cutting edge of technology. His weekly newsletter will give you specific recommendations for value tech stocks, as well as entry prices, target prices, and stops to set for each trade. Dave delivers his weekly newsletters every Friday with updates throughout the week. You can get the Technology Insider at TFNN.com for only $37.50. Sign up for David's newsletter, The Technology Insider, and get an inside look at everything the technology sector has to offer. Try it risk-free today with our 30-day money-back guarantee. TFNN, educating investors.
Are Are China A shares hot or not? If you trade China A shares, now may be time to take a closer look. Trade CHAU or CHAD, Directions Daily CSI 300 China A Share Bull and Bear ETFs. China A shares in either direction. Visit directioninvestments.com today. An investor should consider the investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses of the Direction shares carefully before investing. The prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction shares. To obtain a prospectus or summary prospectus, please contact Direction shares at 866-476-7523. The prospectus or summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC.
This program is brought to you by Vista Gold, traded on the NYSE American and TSX under the symbol VGZ.
And we're back. As I said, as we go into break, it's hard to figure out how these guys make it long term with internet streaming available from Starlink and SpaceX. And they just continue to crank out more satellites every day. But as I said, a lot of people very happy, especially the people at the North Pole. Scientists up there, of course, have had problems with communications, would get intermittent internet access. But, you know, they may not get exactly what they want, but, you know, for 10, 15 minutes at a time, they can get internet access. And if you're at the North Pole, you probably can't complain. Somebody talked about Domino's pizzas. I've always called them Domino's Death Dish. But certainly it dropped the chalupa today. Let's see, what else do we have out here? I don't see it here. Yeah, that's true. Okay. Okay, Domino's, anyway, down into lows that are just under 1 million shares with 2.76 million shares. Not exactly sure why they dropped. I haven't seen the news or really come anywhere close to it. But you got to think that a lot of people were living on pizza for a couple of years during the lockdowns. And maybe it's time for them to move on. In fact, I look for anything that's different. And I brought up the other day the place that I see that is bonkers. It's Cane's Chicken Fingers. They just put in a huge place, paid $20 million for this piece of land, and they've got a thing about the size of a football field where you go and get in line to get your food. And it, you know, I went through it. It took about 10 minutes. It wasn't bad. I waited more with nobody at a Burger King or at McDonald's to have, I'm going to say there were 150 cars probably in line. This was at lunch in line, and I've seen bigger lines. Half the Sam's Club parking lot is full of people that are walking over to the place. They're actually building a second one, if you're familiar with Clearwater, over on East Bay. So it looks like why they only have, I think, one in Miami. They've got, well, going to have two here in Clearwater fairly quickly. But I hear a lot of people talking very highly of them. I like the food. And I guess, although I didn't see them make, it tastes like some kind of air-fried chicken fingers, very moist. a level above what you would find at Wendy's. I think I got like 3 chicken fingers from some fries and a drink, and it was like $10. Not bad, but I'd keep an eye on that one. Domino's Death Dish, not so much. Back down. Okay. What else do we have? Insys. ANSS. For our friend over in Orlando, thereabouts, otherwise known as the Golf Guy. Nice pop right up to resistance, maybe even a little bit over, but kind of sneaking back down under the August 4th 22 high that had 850,000 shares. You got about the same. So you got a huge bounce. I would have liked to seen at least 2 million shares today. Not bad. I have not looked and seen how many shares short this company has. Let's take a quick look. ANSS. It's okay. 2 days to cover. So, yeah, it doesn't look like maybe they had enough to really drive this market up. But, of course, also with the drive down and the Jamie Dimon raining on the parade today, maybe we'll see this do a little bit better. But I'm not saying this is a giant sign of strength yet today. But, you're going to have a little bit more. But on a gap that size, you probably ought to have double the volume, or you probably are going to have a issue in the coming days. Figure 3 days, and if that starts moving back, look for it to fill the gap. Doesn't mean that you may want to buy it there, but probably going to hold up for a handful of days. Say what? I still prefer Chick-fil-A. Which part of it is the finger? I don't know, but they gave me the fingers. Fingers. Anyway, I'm just saying that there's few places I've seen packed out, and Cane's is one of them. I don't think that they're public yet. Big gap down on eBay. I'm going to say that they continue to be a place to sell stolen merchandise and Chinesium stuff that has dubious quality. But if you want it now, but it's probably on AliExpress, where you'd have to wait 3 or 6 weeks for it to be mailed over from China. You can buy it on eBay, but certainly it gets a losing horn from me today. It becomes less and less every year of anything I think about when I go to buy something. They certainly have a lot of old car parts on there, which seems to be more of their forte than anything else. I just don't understand what they're doing long term. They had such a great market position for a number of years. MCOR, another one of these stocks that had a nice pop. It's kind of coming back. You would have liked to seen more volume here today, November 22nd. Last year you saw 156.67 with 700,000 shares. You only have 422 today. You're probably going to make come close to the volume. Question is whether or not you close above that 156.67. Etsy, of course, a darling of the lockdowns, starting to see bigger problems. Really never broke through the early December highs with any kind of sign of strength. And, you want to see some decent volume when you break previous highs. On the 2nd of February, you did not see it. It's really kind of been coming down. You have a wide-ranging doji on it today, probably more on short sellers than anything else. But its best days may be behind it for a few years as the overhang from the pandemic wanes. FMC Technologies. Yeah, it doesn't seem like there's a whole lot of reasons to be on eBay. We'll be back in a minute. You still got time to email me if you want to look at a stock, or call 877-927-6648.
If you're looking for potential trading setups in the stock market, then Rocket Equities and Options Report is a newsletter you should try. Tommy O'Brien delivers options and equity trades when the markets present them using a combination of fundamentals and technicals. Sign up for Rocket Equities and Options Report today with a 30-day money-back guarantee so you have nothing to risk. For all the details and to start your subscription today, visit the front page of TFNN.com. TFNN, educating investors.
You might think that if you want to be successful at trading in the stock market, you're going to need a crystal ball. After all, it's impossible to predict the future, right? Like any endeavor in life, before you decide it's impossible, get some advice from the experts. You might find that it's not so impossible after all. For daily market overviews that give you direction on the key indices, selective stocks, and commodities, subscribe to the Opening Call newsletter at TFNN.com. The Opening Call newsletter is written by Basil Chapman, creator of the trading methodology known as the Chapman Wave. The Chapman Wave up-down sequence gives you an edge in identifying price turns, finding the peaks and valleys in stock prices. Get the Opening Call newsletter by Basil Chapman in your inbox every day. First-time subscribers also get a 30-day money-back guarantee. If you're not satisfied, let us know, and you'll get a full refund within 30 days of signing up. TFNN.com, educating investors.
Everything in the universe is governed by the Fibonacci sequence. This mathematical principle is responsible for everything from the most aesthetically pleasing artwork to patterns in the stock market. To stay on top of stock patterns you can take advantage of, sign up for the Fibonacci 24/7 newsletter at TFNN.com. When you subscribe, you'll get a weekly report from veteran day trader Larry Pesavento on stocks you need to pay attention to. And you can trust Larry's analysis. After all, he's got 45 years experience as a day trader. Larry will also provide daily charts, videos, and data on the key markets that he's tracking. Expect notifications from Larry on market movement you need to act on at any time. First-time subscribers also get a 30-day money-back guarantee. If you're not satisfied, let us know and you'll get a full refund within 30 days of signing up. Subscribe to the Fibonacci 24/7 newsletter today. TFNN.com, educating investors.
TFNN has launched the Tiger's Den. Hosted at Discord, TFNN has been educating traders for more than 20 years with live programming hosted by a variety of professional traders during market hours. The Tiger's Den, available to all tigers and tigresses for just $1 for the year. There's no catch or added costs when you join our community of traders. Sign up today and become a part of this educational community of traders. Just visit the front page of TFNN.com.
Catch Tom O'Brien, professional trader and educator, founder of TFNN. Also, a special guest on CNBC. Tom will bisect and dissect the markets. The Tom O'Brien Show, next on TFNN.
And as we come back, Moderna's lower today. It's got some volume picking up. The narrative on the industrial vaccine complex continues to change. And many places around the world where journalism is a little bit higher thought of as of late is publishing articles not too friendly to the vaccine industrial complex. Down, volume starting to pick up. I don't see any reason this does not come back and retest the 120 level. What else did I want to look at? Rent-A-Center. If you want a canary in the coal mine for the market turning and bigger problems, certainly Rent-A-Center is one. It gapped down and made it pretty much all back today. I'd keep an eye on this one. Again, as I said, I think we're really starting to see the hangover from Christmas come to the retail consumer, and we may just have another 7 or so days of a market struggling to get higher before we turn lower. At least that's the setup at the moment. I don't see any reason why not to take a look at it. We bounced off the lows. We're up 18 points on the S&P cash. Dow's up 65, Nasdaq's up 63. I don't see any reason, but I think it's going to be a lot of very fast finger trading over the next 7 days. I don't see a giant move higher, maybe another 70 or 80 points to find a high. But it could take, it could be one of those things where you just have a lot of hang time, and not being patient and waiting for fund buying to be over may be a problematic for a lot of folks. Anyway, some stocks in the meantime, stock picker market, probably not that much movement in the indexes. Sell when you can, not when you have to. Cover when you can, not when you have to. And we will return.
Building wealth trading in the stock market seems impossible.